My mind races, a whirlwind of thoughts jostling for attention. Before the other person can finish a sentence, I'm jumping in, eager to share my own perspective. It's not a conscious choice, more like an uncontrollable urge, a reflex I haven't quite mastered. This impulsivity, a hallmark of my ADHD, has been a constant companion throughout my life. It's the reason I blurt out answers in class, finish people's sentences, and struggle to wait my turn in conversations. I know it can be annoying, even rude, and I desperately want to change. I long for the ability to listen patiently, to absorb what others are saying without the constant internal pressure to interject. But the urge to interrupt, to contribute, to be heard, often overrides my good intentions. It's like a mental itch I can't resist scratching, even though I know it will only make things worse. I envision myself engaging in dialogues where I can fully absorb what others are saying, offering thoughtful responses instead of impulsive interruptions. My earliest memories are punctuated by the sound of my own voice, often cutting through conversations. As a child, I was bursting with energy and ideas, eager to share my thoughts. This enthusiasm often manifested as interruptions, frustrating my family and friends. School was particularly challenging. My impulsivity made it hard to sit still and resist blurting out answers. I remember shouting out an answer in second grade and being gently reprimanded. Social gatherings were also difficult. I often interrupted conversations. My constant interruptions made forming lasting friendships hard. These experiences laid the groundwork for my journey of self-discovery. The fluorescent lights of the lecture hall hummed overhead, casting a sterile glow on the rows of students. Dr. Ramirez, our esteemed psychology professor, was discussing the intricacies of interpersonal communication. As Dr. Ramirez described the importance of active listening, I felt a pang of guilt. Suddenly, Dr. Ramirez posed a question to the class. Before anyone else could react, my hand shot up and I blurted out an answer. The words tumbled out of my mouth, a jumbled mess of half-formed thoughts and incomplete sentences. A wave of embarrassment washed over me as the class erupted in laughter. The incident in Dr. Ramirez's class became a catalyst for change, igniting a desire within me to understand my impulsivity and develop strategies to manage it. I knew I had a long road ahead, but for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope that I could overcome this challenge and become the person I aspired to be. The realization that my ADHD was the root cause of my interrupting habit hit me with the force of a physical blow. It wasn't simply a matter of bad manners or lack of self-control. It was a neurological difference that affected my ability to regulate my impulses. This understanding brought a mix of emotions, relief, frustration, and a renewed sense of determination. I began to research ADHD, devouring books and articles on the topic. I learned about the science behind impulsivity, the role of neurotransmitters, and the various strategies for managing symptoms. The more I learned, the more I understood myself and the challenges I faced. This newfound knowledge empowered me to approach my impulsivity with compassion and understanding. I recognized that it wasn't a personal failing, but rather a characteristic of my neurology. Armed with this understanding, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery, seeking out resources and support to help me manage my impulsivity. It was a journey of growth, resilience, and self-acceptance, one that continues to shape my life today. My journey to understand my ADHD and its impact on my interrupting habit was a deeply personal one. It involved introspection, self-reflection, and a willingness to confront my own shortcomings. I started by keeping a journal, documenting instances where I interrupted others, and analyzing the triggers and patterns that emerged. This process helped me identify specific situations where I was most likely to interrupt, such as during group conversations or when discussing topics I was passionate about. I also sought feedback from trusted friends and family members, asking them to honestly assess my communication style. Their insights were invaluable, providing me with an outside perspective on my behavior. Therapy played a crucial role in my journey of self-discovery. Working with a therapist who specialized in ADHD, I gained a deeper understanding of the underlying causes of my impulsivity. We explored coping mechanisms, communication strategies, and techniques for managing my emotional responses. Through therapy, I discovered the power of mindfulness and self-awareness. This journey of self-discovery was not a linear process, but rather a continuous cycle of learning, growth, and self-acceptance. Armed with a deeper understanding of my ADHD and its impact on my communication style, I began to explore strategies for change. Active listening became a cornerstone of my efforts. I learned to focus intently on the speaker, making eye contact, nodding my head, and offering verbal affirmations to show that I was engaged. Mindfulness practices also proved invaluable. I incorporated meditation and deep breathing exercises into my daily routine, training my mind to stay present and focused. Another strategy that proved effective was the pause. Before responding to someone, I would consciously take a deep breath and pause for a few seconds. The pause became a powerful tool, enabling me to regulate my impulsivity and engage in more thoughtful and respectful conversations. Putting these strategies into practice was not always easy. It required conscious effort, patience, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. There were times when I slipped up, interrupting others out of habit or succumbing to the urge to interject. But I didn't let these setbacks discourage me. I viewed them as learning opportunities, reminding myself that change takes time and perseverance. The pause technique in particular required consistent practice. It felt unnatural at first, the silence stretching out awkwardly between my thoughts and words. But with each successful pause, I gained confidence and control. I began to appreciate the power of silence, recognizing that it created space for reflection, deeper understanding, and more meaningful connections. Over time, these strategies became ingrained in my communication patterns. The transformation was gradual, but it was noticeable, not only to me, but also to those around me. As I delved deeper into the art of communication, I realized that listening involved much more than just hearing words. Nonverbal cues, such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice, played a crucial role in conveying meaning and emotion. I began to pay close attention to these subtle signals, learning to interpret the unspoken messages that accompanied verbal communication. By observing these nonverbal cues, I gained a deeper understanding of the speaker's emotional state and the nuances of their message. I also learned the importance of my own nonverbal communication. I practiced making eye contact, nodding my head, and using open and inviting body language to show that I was engaged and receptive. By integrating nonverbal cues into my communication repertoire, I became a more effective and empathetic listener. This heightened awareness transformed my interactions, fostering deeper connections and more meaningful communication. The positive impact of these changes extended beyond my immediate interactions. My relationships with family, friends, and colleagues began to flourish. The constant interruptions that had once strained my connections were replaced by genuine listening and thoughtful responses. I became a more valued friend, a more supportive partner, and a more effective collaborator. I also made a conscious effort to repair relationships that had been damaged by my past impulsivity. I apologized to those I had interrupted or offended, acknowledging the impact of my behavior and expressing my commitment to change. By expressing my feelings, acknowledging my mistakes, and actively listening to the concerns of others, I created a foundation for mutual understanding and respect. The transformation in my communication style not only improved my relationships, but also enhanced my overall well-being. My journey to manage my interrupting habit became a journey of self-acceptance. I learned to embrace my ADHD, recognizing that it was not a flaw, but rather a different way of being, a unique lens through which I experienced the world. This shift in perspective allowed me to let go of the shame and self-criticism that had weighed me down for so long. I began to appreciate the strengths that came with my ADHD, my creativity, my energy, my enthusiasm, and my ability to think outside the box. I realized that these qualities, while sometimes challenging, also made me a valuable contributor to my community and the world around me. I also learned to accept my limitations, recognizing that I couldn't always control my impulses or prevent myself from interrupting. This journey of self-acceptance was not always easy, but it was ultimately transformative. I learned to love myself, imperfections and all, and to appreciate the richness and complexity of my neurodiversity. Understanding my ADHD and its impact on my communication style has been a gift. It has not only transformed my own life, but has also allowed me to foster greater empathy and connection with others. I now approach conversations with a deeper understanding of the challenges that others may be facing, recognizing that everyone communicates differently and that there is no one right way to interact. I have also become a more patient and understanding listener, recognizing that interruptions may not always be intentional or malicious. They may be a manifestation of anxiety, excitement, or a neurological difference. This awareness has allowed me to respond with greater compassion and understanding. My journey with ADHD has taught me the importance of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and the power of empathy. I am grateful for the challenges and the lessons learned, for they have made me a better listener, a better communicator, and a more compassionate human being.